Hello everyone, welcome back to our video updates. It's Sade here. Today's video is going to cover the questions I've been getting about evictions. Most of the questions have been coming from landlords, but I'm going to try to do this video from a neutral perspective and let you decide which parts are applicable to you, whether you're a landlord or a tenant. So when we're looking at the protections that are available during this pandemic, we'll have to look at the federal level, and then we'll also look at the state level. And then when you are about to present your case in court, for instance, you'll pick the law that protects you the most. Sometimes you'll use just the federal law, sometimes you'll argue both laws, okay? So that's how the litigation typically goes. So I'll talk about the federal protections because the state ones are so varied because we have so many states. And then I'll let you figure out what applies in your state. I'm in Texas, so I'll talk briefly about Texas state laws on evictions. As you know, in March of this year, Congress passed the CARES Act, and under that CARES Act, there was a federal moratorium put in place as of March 27 that covers federal evictions, and it stops evictions for a period of 120 days for certain categories of rentals. And that means that it runs through July 27, 2020. In addition to that time period, the section, which is section 4024, also says that if the eviction lawsuit is not yet in progress or in process as of March 27, then the landlord has to provide a 30-day notice to vacate first before filing that eviction lawsuit. So it essentially gives some tenants up until the end of August before the landlord can actually start with the eviction proceeding. If the eviction lawsuit was already in place prior to March 27, then the landlord can, of course, go forward with that particular lawsuit. So that's the general provision under the federal moratorium. And now I'll go over the kinds of rentals that the moratorium covers. The moratorium covers all the rentals that are under a subsidized housing program. And it also covers all the rentals that are under the rural housing voucher programs, as well as VAWA, which is the Violence Against Women's Act. And VAWA also has a broad category of types of subsidized housing programs that it refers to. So what are those categories? Most of them are under the HUD provision. So the Department of Housing and Urban Development has some subsidized housing programs such as Section 8, which most people are familiar with, which covers certain rentals and also some projects. And also there's a section that covers people with disabilities, which is Section 811, as well as Section 202 that covers people that are elderly. There is also a section for people that have AIDS in certain situations. So there are many things that are covered, and if you are a tenant and you're under one of these programs, then this federal moratorium would apply to you. If you're a landlord and of course you are renting under these programs, then you need to be aware of this moratorium as well. The other types of rentals that are covered under this moratorium are the ones with the Department of Agriculture that have to do with farm labor rentals, as well as the rural housing programs that I mentioned before that are subsidized. The last category will be the low-income housing programs that have the tax credit associated with them under the Department of Treasury. So if you're in doubt what type of rental you have, speak with a lawyer. They'll be able to sort it out for you by looking at the lease agreement. They could look at the property documents and things like that, because the federally backed mortgages are also covered under the moratorium. The federally backed mortgages are typically those ones that come from the FHA, the Federal Housing Administration. They're held by the FHA, or they are covered under the Fannie Mae loans, the Freddie Mac loans, the VA loans, and Department of Agriculture loans as well. So there are many different categories. Just talk to a lawyer and they'll be able to sort it out for you, okay? Then what else do you need to know? The federal moratorium specifically says that it's only for evictions that are related to non-payment of rent or associated fees and charges. So for instance, if you're a tenant and the landlord needs to evict because you are acting in a manner that's prohibited under your lease agreement, and then they can still go forward with the eviction regardless of this moratorium. And for instance, if they don't allow pets and you snuck in some pets into that unit, then they can still evict you. Okay, if you are not covered under the federal moratorium, you could still have some protections under your state law. So try to familiarize yourself with what the state law protections are at this point. I'm in the state of Texas, and under Texas laws, the moratorium ended May 18. However, there are certain other things that people can do. So those are the things that I wanted to make you aware of. If you have specific questions and you're in Texas, then you could reach out to us on our website, SadeLegal.com, and we'll be able to talk to you about your situation. If you haven't yet subscribed and you like the content on my page, make sure to hit the subscribe button and be on the lookout for future videos because we'll be doing more of these. And thank you for watching as always, and I'll talk to you next time.